Hello everyone, I'm Nax and we are back for part 5. Graduation day has finally arrived and Naruto takes the written test just like anyone else and is confident she passed, if not gotten everything right. She gets almost perfect scores when it comes to her throwing weapons and her taijutsu is second only to Sasuke, though he is not the one she ends up sparring against. The one she ends up sparring against and who has to evaluate her on hand to hand is none other than Mizuki, the traitor from episode 1. His original plan to trick the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki into stealing the Scroll of Sealing obviously isn't going to work. He considered trying to fudge the exam, but judged it too dangerous. He wasn't the only examiner, and if Naruto's performance dropped so suddenly during this crucial moment, that might raise suspicions. So she passes just like everyone else we know. In fact, I think she might want to show off a little. So when the time for the ninjutsu evaluation comes, she creates a clone of herself and sends it to the academy instead. When her name is called to perform the jutsu, the clone makes the hand signs and then the real Naruto appears in a puff of smoke. When Iruka comes to examine what he believes is a clone, he is surprised to find that the clone is solid. "You managed to make a solid clone?" Iruka would ask in amazement. "It's possible to make a solid clone?" Naruto would ask while grinning. All her classmates were watching her with admiration and she was loving this. Even Ino and Sakura, who have by now grown to accept that Naruto was just that good at the ninja arts, and have grown to simply be happy for her because of it. Wait, if this isn't a solid clone, then... Iruka would turn to what he previously believed was the genuine Naruto, which now disappears in a puff of smoke. "Well, I think it's safe to say that you know how to perform a clone jutsu." Now this is huge. I don't think I need to explain just how important the shadow clones are to canon Naruto's repertoire, and Naruto does not have it. Naruto is better than canon Naruto in most things, from taijutsu to chakra control to throwing weapon precision to social skills. Yet after they both become genin, and if Naruto and Naruto could somehow fight each other, Naruto would wipe the floor with Naruto. The shadow clones are just that good of a jutsu. Naruto will end up leaving the academy with no more jutsus under her belt than Sakura. Moving on, we know that there is a brief break during the academy tests and the team placements. In the show, this is episode 2, where the shenanigans between Konohamaru and Naruto happen. Something vaguely similar does happen here. She takes her official photo, without any funny stuff this time, and appears before the Hokage. The Hokage, meanwhile, has a very different reason for seeing her than a ridiculous photo that needs to be retaken. The following might be eyebrow-raising, since nothing of the sort ever happens in canon, but in my head it just makes too much sense for it to go any other way. "Why did you summon me, Hokage-sama? Is there a problem with my registration?" "Not a problem, but with you about to become a ninja for Konoha, there is a certain secret I feel you now deserve to be aware of." "A secret?" "Yes, a secret concerning you. I understand that the people of this village haven't always been kind to you." "It's not so bad. Indeed, the days of being all alone would feel like a distant memory by now. Having friends and even some adults you could rely on, like Ino and Sakura's parents, makes the distrust from people that don't know her a lot more bearable." Hiruzen would smile at that. "You have no idea how relieved I am to hear you say that. But have you ever wondered just why some people dislike you so?" Naruto would lean forward in her chair. "I have asked that question on occasion, but have never gotten answers from anyone. They were forbidden to speak of it on my orders. I didn't want anyone to know they didn't already know. I'm not sure whether my decision made things easier for you, but it was all I could do." "Well, what is it?" And so Hiruzen would retell the story of the Nine-Tails attack on Konoha. But even the fourth Hokage could not destroy the Nine-Tails. Instead he sealed it away inside a newborn babe. That is you, Naruto. Naruto would blink. "For realsies?" Hiruzen would smile wryly. "For realsies. The people needed someone to blame. For many, you were the someone. As far as I'm concerned, however, you are a hero." "A hero? I've done nothing." "You keep the Nine-Tails at bay, and this burden has caused you much grief. To sacrifice yourself for the sake of your comrades and the village is what being a shinobi is all about." Hiruzen takes a puff from his pipe. "Do you resent having this burden placed on you?" "I don't know," Naruto would say, which was the honest truth. It was a lot to take in. She remembered things being bad for her before, but that was a long time ago. A time in her life she'd much rather forget. "So what does this mean for me?" "For now, nothing. One day you might be called upon to learn how to harness the Nine Tails' power, but for now, I just want you to continue developing your shinobi skills, and get to know your future teammates. Control the Nine Tails' power? Is that even possible? Hiruzen would look grave. Under no circumstances are you to experiment with that power without permission and proper oversight. Am I understood? Understood, sir. Naruto would answer, and under her breath she would say, wouldn't even know where to start. Good. Do you have any other questions? For now, just one, sir. Why me? Now that is some question. Hiruzen would think to himself. He hadn't planned to tell her of her lineage, but was smart enough to know that there was a chance it might come up. This was an even bigger secret than the previous one, due to it actually being a secret. Yet he couldn't justify keeping it from her when asked about it directly. The fourth Hokage could not ask another parent to make a sacrifice that he himself was unwilling to make. That was enough for Naruto to figure it out, and her mouth fell wide open. She couldn't finish the sentence. It was as if the revelation was too large for her to push through her small mouth. You are the daughter of our beloved fourth Hokage, yes. Naruto still seemed incapable of forming words. You must understand that while the fourth Hokage is beloved in this village, both for his victory over the Nine Tails and his efforts during the Third Great Ninja War, he is despised in any other of the great villages for exactly that same reason. Many would wish to hurt you because of who your father is. Are you aware that Kumo tried to steal a child from the Hyuga family a while back? Naruto would shake her head. People would come after you as well, and unlike the Hyuga, you do not have a clan to defend you. Our village isn't as safe as we would want, especially for a child that can't defend herself. The best way to protect you was to make you inconspicuous. You told me that my parents died fighting the Nine Tails. And so they did. For what little it's worth, I am sorry for the deception. You also told me my parents loved me. I did, and they did. What kind of father sacrifices his own daughter? She tried very hard to keep the bitterness out of her voice. The secret would hit her much harder than the previous one. I do not claim to know your father's mind during that fateful day, but I know he was looking forward to being a father. Please trust me, Naruto, that when I say that he loved you before you were even born. A minute of silence would ensue. Hiruzen would start on his paperwork, giving Naruto time to let his new revelation sink in. And my mother? And so Hiruzen would tell her about Kushina, that she got her last name from her, and that she was the container for the Nine Tails before Naruto, though not many people ever knew this about her. Is there a way I could learn more about them? And Hiruzen would consider whether he should name-drop Kakashi at this point. That man had been wallowing in his past for so long, having Naruto ask him about Minato could be really bad to really good to anything in between. There is a Jonin in the village by the name of Kakashi Hatake, known as the Copy Ninja, or Kakashi of the Sharingan Eye. He is the only surviving student of the fourth Hokage, and knew him better than most who are still alive. Hiruzen would also mention the Hokage's honor guard, though they didn't know him for very long. I am sad to say that many other people who knew him are already dead. Of their old teammates during their Genin days, none are alive anymore. Minato's old sensei is still alive though. His name is Jiraiya, but he is rarely inside the village due to his work. Jiraiya? Jiraiya the Toad Sage, one of the legendary Sannin. Hiruzen would smile again. That's the one. He wasn't planning to mention that Jiraiya was her godfather though. Jiraiya would have to own up to that one himself. I urge you to not spread this secret around, since the reason for its existence is still valid. Yet they are your secrets now, and I give you full leave to tell whoever you wish, though again I urge you to act with caution. And from then on there would be another long silence that stretched on for more than 10 minutes. Hiruzen would allow Naruto to keep sitting until she asked to leave herself. He wanted to give her whatever time she needed to recover from all this new information. Before Naruto could bring her thoughts back to reality, however, a new arrival would burst into the room.
Old man, I challenge you. Once I defeat you, I shall become the 5th Hokage!
Yep, it's our lovable middle school kid Konohamaru, with his minder Ibisu not far behind him. And just like in canon, Konohamaru trips and accuses Naruto of tripping him. Naruto would respond to this with a bit more composure than the original Naruto, standing up from her seat and moving into Konohamaru's personal space and showing her teeth. Care to repeat that, you little brat? Honestly, Naruto was glad for the distraction, but she wasn't going to let this pipsqueak walk all over her. Ibisu would tell her to move away from the honorable grandson, and Konohamaru would try to stand up to Naruto, expecting her to be intimidated by his position as grandson of the third Hokage. Now, Naruto probably wouldn't care about his honorable grandson business under normal circumstances, but considering the recent revelations, this outright makes her burst out in near hysterical laughter, to Konohamaru's confused concern.
Hey, what's so funny?
You are, kid. You're pathetic, trying to hide behind your grandfather's good name like that.
How dare you? I'm not hiding behind anything. I'm going to defeat my grandpa and become the next Hokage.
Naruto quirks an eyebrow. You're pretty dumb, kid. That's not how that works.
Who are you calling dumb? You're the girl with the blonde hair.
Naruto would give him a smile so wide that nobody could mistake it for a happy smile. She'd grab Konohamaru by the ears. That's no way to talk to your elders. Perhaps I ought to teach you some respect. Ibisu would object to this treatment, but Naruto just ignores him. Naruto, I think my grandson has seen the error of his ways. The Hokage was not someone she could ignore. By your leave, Lord Hokage. And without waiting for permission, she's out. Ibisu tries to give Konohamaru the I am the best trainer in the world speech, only to find Konohamaru having run after Naruto. Outside, Naruto would just be wandering the village, looking at the carved face of the fourth Hokage overlooking the village. She still wasn't sure whether she was happy that her parents were such amazing ninja, or resentful about them seemingly valuing the village more than they valued her. She did see it as them sacrificing both themselves as well as her for the sake of the village. How much could they have really loved her if they could do that? She couldn't imagine Ino or Sakura's parents doing something similar. I guess that's what made them such great shinobi, Naruto thinks morosely. She sighs and turns around. You're not fooling anyone, kid. Silence. Dear God, was I ever this bad, she thinks.
The rumors about you are true, you are good.
Konohamaru would appear from the painted curtain that he believed counted as camouflage. Brave of you to come after me after all that.
I am not afraid of anyone.
Naruto couldn't help but smile. The skit was amusing if nothing else. So why did you come after me?
I want you to be my teacher,
he said in a way that indicated she should be proud of his honor. Well, that's a little out of the blue, she thinks. Are you serious? Don't you already have a trainer? She didn't know about Ibisu, but surely someone like Konohamaru would have private tutors.
Yeah, but he sucks. He's not teaching me any cool jutsus, and you must know some.
Naruto would consider this request. This kid was clearly an idiot, but she could still recall being like him once upon a time. And helping out a little kohai clearly in need of guidance would be the responsible thing to do. But more than anything else, she could really use something to take her mind off the fourth Hokage and the nine-tailed fox. Very well then, I suppose I can give you some pointers.
Yes!
What's your name anyway?
My name is Konohamaru, and don't you forget it.
Come with me then. From now on, you shall refer to me as Naruto Senpai. There won't be any shenanigans with the sexy jutsu because, well, no. Just no. Naruto is not going to turn into a mature naked version of herself. Instead, Naruto would bring Konohamaru into a forest and tell him to attack her. What? I said try to hit me. What is it? Isn't it wrong to hit girls? This really isn't a bad kid, Naruto thinks to herself. You're not supposed to hit anyone under most circumstances. Being a girl has nothing to do with it. But this is training, like in the academy. Don't worry, I've been hit by kids who hit a lot harder than you. Naruto would take the basic taijutsu stance and make a come-get-me gesture. And so they would spar, and Naruto would try to correct any faults in Konohamaru's style. After several hours of this, Konohamaru would fall on his ass, dead tired. Naruto would sit in the dirt next to him. Remember, you asked for this. He was impressed. He fought until he literally dropped from exhaustion. She, of course, was nowhere near being winded.
You're pretty good, but this is not much different from what Ibisu has had me do. When are you going to teach me any cool jutsu?
This wasn't the first time he had asked her about cool jutsus this past hour. She'd done her best to brush off his questions up until now. She knew she didn't actually have any jutsus Konohamaru would consider cool. Well, have you mastered the transformation jutsu yet?
Well, no. But I'm not going to defeat the Hokage with just the transformation jutsu, am I?
You know, Konohamaru? The kid's face would light up when she used his name. I was beginning to think you might have what it takes to become Hokage someday. Konohamaru's face would light up even more. But then you say things like that, and then I know better. What's that supposed to mean? I mean that there is no single special jutsu that can make you Hokage material. Your granddad has had decades to become the ninja he is today. You really think you can beat that with just a single jutsu? Konohamaru wouldn't answer and simply looked frustrated. Why do you want your granddad's job anyway? After some prodding, the kid would open up to her and explain how everyone only sees the third Hokage when they look at him. Most don't even use his name. I just want everyone to acknowledge me for who I am, that's all. Naruto couldn't help but compare him to her and wondered if she would have had the same problem if people knew of her parents or if they had still been alive. She briefly considered telling Konohamaru the secret, despite Hiruzen's warning. No, I shouldn't make this about me, she thinks to herself. You don't need to become Hokage, Konohamaru, she says, putting extra emphasis on his name. What you need is a few good friends. I can't give you the details, but I do know what it's like for people to not see you. Instead they see something else, something they expect to see, and they don't bother to learn otherwise. But once you have a few people that see you, truly see you, you'll find you don't care all that much about the approval of strangers. Easier said than done. Well, what about the academy? That's where I made my first friends. When I met them, that's the moment where my life truly began. He turned and gave him a conspiratory look. Don't tell them that. They always get embarrassed when I say things like that. He grins at her. I won't tell them, but even in the academy, most children just try to suck up to me because I am the honorable grandson. They all do that? Well, not everyone. Then you know where you need to sit next time, don't you? I guess I could try. And if nothing else, she puts her hand on his head and messes up his hair. I would be honored if I could be your first friend. Konohamaru would smile and blush a little in embarrassment. I suppose I could give you that honor. It will mean something special when I finally become Hokage. He continued in a softer, more uncertain voice as if seeking her approval. I do still want to become Hokage though, and have the whole village acknowledge me. That's fine, just let me know if there's anything I can do to help. That's what friends are for, right? Both Naruto and Konohamaru would be unaware that someone had been spying on them for the last 10 minutes. Ibisu had found them. Originally had wanted to drag the honorable grandson away from the Kyuubi child, but the third Hokage had asked him to give Naruto a chance. So when he found them, he simply followed stealthily and observed. A simple enough task for a jonin of my level, he thinks, observing the two children. But honorable grandson, no, Konohamaru. I had no idea you felt like that. He sees the two children getting up and Naruto escorting Konohamaru back to the village. Both looked happy to have met each other. And you, Naruto, I've misjudged you as well. Ibisu decided to return home. These two didn't need his help today. At the same time, Hiruzen would be looking into his crystal ball, seeing the same scene with a large smile on his face. Minato, Kushina. Oh, how I wished you were alive to see this. You'd both be so very proud of her. And that's where we're going to leave things for now. Considering the info dump that the third Hokage just gave Naruto, I just want to say that I have no clue why such a thing never happened in canon. You'd think Kakashi or Jiraiya would have made mention of it at some point before Pain's assault. The only explanation I can come up with was that the topic just never came up, and that's a poor excuse at best. And I know we still haven't gotten to the team placements. I'm really sorry, since I did say we'd get there during this part. The script for part 6 is done, so I can guarantee we'll get there next time. Nikes out.